What is up, everyone? Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, it finally happened, okay? And it did happen a couple of days ago. It did happen on Monday, to be more specific. But I managed to pull my most wanted legendary champion. If you guys watched the weekly kickoff video where we kind of like talked about this summoning pool, the headline champions, being overall a good banner. You know, I've done basically one of these packs in the video, right? 5 summons. I was like, yeah, not meant to be. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try one more. Tried one more, pulled one Autorian, and then I was left with 20 Prism Crystals. And then I said, let me get one more of these to get one more summon. It took me 11 summons to get Fyna, Blade of freaking Aravia, and to up my team in the Chimera. Absolutely insane champion. For a long time, she was my most wanted legendary champion in the entire game. Mainly because of her capabilities to enable your team to score high trials in the Chimera. Now, I haven't even took her for a spin in the Hydra or in other content like that, but she absolutely changed the way I'm playing Chimera, because now I can actually focus on the trials that matter the most to try and get as many mythical materials as possible. In today's video, I'm gonna go over my run. It's not gonna be an impressive runs in terms of like stupid damage or 1 million trials. No, we are focusing on the trials that actually matter. And you've heard me saying it many times before, guys. If you want to get the most out of Chimera, don't do high damage and ignore trials. Trials are the way, because you're gonna get a lot of materials for the relics and stuff. But of course, everyone with their own thing. The only problem is you will require to do a lot of manualing for trials and all that stuff. I understand that a lot of people don't like it, right? But with the A1, attacks an enemy has a chance to increase the cooldown of a random skill, and when counter-attacking with the skill, teams up with a random ally to join the attack, okay? Now, this is not something that I utilized a lot because I wasn't really buffing her to try and use this second part of the skill, right? Maybe in some cases I might have to do it, but I don't necessarily think that is going to be the most important part, right? With the second skill, you will not falter, places an immunity, a block damage, a counter attack on a target ally for 2 turns, and if the target of the skill is not this champion, will reset the cooldown of all of the target skills, which is really good. And then you have the A3, places an increased attack, increased crit rate, increased crit damage on all allies for 2 turns. With one faction ally grants an extra turn, and we are using her with Galatir, and the rest becomes a bit more irrelevant for the Chimera because we're not running any other high elf champions. But before placing buffs, removes all debuffs from all allies, which is nice. You're getting a bit of a cleanse, and buffs placed by this skill cannot be removed. And then, of course, we have the passive. One faction ally will allow the allies to deal more damage when attacking out of their active turns. Ally attack, counter attacks, and whenever a buff is placed on an ally, will fill their turn meter by 3%. The more buffs you bring in, the faster you're going to rotate. 2 faction allies, whenever a buff is removed or stolen from an ally, or when it expires, fills their turn meter by 10%. And with 3 of them, allies will ignore 5% of the target's defense for each buff on them. This is going to be very nasty, for example, in a Hydra team, or in general, when you have a solid high elf team, this is going to be very nasty, the more buffs you're bringing to the table. And of course, a speed aura for all battles, and an increased crit rate only for the high elves. Pretty good base stats overall. Let's quickly talk a bit about her build, then we're going to go over the Chimera run that I've done already. I've pre-recorded it because I had to do it in the morning. The reset is happening today, right? So the main thing, you want to build her as fast as possible on a 9-piece protection. I do have some accuracy on her, but that's not really for the Chimera. The A1 can benefit a bit from it in Faction Wars hard mode, and that's what I'm using her. I'm trying to make my life as easier as possible when I'm doing Faction Wars hard mode, because stage 21 is pretty annoying on auto. So anything that helps, I'll take it, right? Plus, if I remember it correctly, I think I just gain accuracy from substats without actually really looking for it either, right? I just don't have better speed on this. Will be a bit hard to find a better weapon, but you can drop the accuracy. That is not a requirement whatsoever, right? Then, these are the total stats. 70k HP, 3.7k defense, 340 speed, some resistance, some accuracy, which fairly irrelevant. When we are talking about relics, I have equipped her with this. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that this is the best relic for her, but it's definitely a pretty solid relic, because the wearer will have a chance to receive an extra turn when using their default skill if some of the other skills are on cooldown. So it will enable us to rotate a bit faster. I don't really have many other relics available that could benefit her or my team more than something like this. I'm still kind of like playing around with that though. Maybe I'm going to change it to something else at some point, but this is basically what I have free in terms of relics, and none of them really stand out as, oh my god, this is so much better, right? Gemstones, we have these ones. I don't really have anything good. The shape for these gemstones really sucks though on the relic. That's kind of like the downside of it. Then, no blessing, unfortunately, not yet. And masteries, we have defense and support. I actually went in with timely intervention. I could go with counterattack instead of getting the spirit haste. In fact, I should have gone with counterattack. I think she does get damaged quite a bit now that I'm thinking about it. In the run, she's definitely gonna drop some HP. So this can proc pretty often and have a random ally to join in the attack with the A1, which, who knows, might bring me a couple of million extra damage or something like that. Of course, I'm not expecting anything too crazy in terms of that. I will share all of the builds for the team at the end, guys. So this is the team that I used with her, guys. It definitely enabled me to run different comps to keep my team alive without actually having to struggle too much. Of course, they will die at some point and stuff like that. Not all of them, but that's a bit less relevant. I'm able to run Raiho like this. I'm actually using Balar for the very first time in the Chimera on my account. I don't really have a high blessing on him or anything like that. And the funny thing is, even though I brought him in for one specific reason, to complete one trial, he failed me, okay? Actually, I brought him in for 2 different trials. He did not fail me on one. But on the one where he should not fail me, he actually failed me because I was not able to get the one with the poison done, okay? It was a bit of a crazy RNG in there and stuff. But we do not have increased speed. We do not have decreased speed. We do not have the block buffs to actually decrease speed. We have on Toshiro's second form, but of course we're not going to be running left and right with that form. And we don't have a block buffs to basically stop the boss from gaining the increased speed. And even like that, we still managed to comfortably get to the top chest. As I was saying, the main goal was not to push in for high damage. I might be doing that with a completely different team, with Titus and stuff like that. But the main goal was to try and get as many mythical materials as possible. And of course, the basalts, because especially the 4-star one is really, really important. And we had on the first form right here, we needed the increased accuracy, where Balar came in play. And what I was constantly doing with Fyna was basically buffing, of course, my Toshiro, buffing Balar sometimes. And when we were getting to the lion form, especially on the very first turn, before we were even getting to it, I was always buffing my Galatir. If I needed to buff him at a later moment in time for whatever reason, because he might get too low on HP or anything like that, I would basically buff him again with the block damage, just to make sure the lion form won't absolutely demolish him, because he is the champion with the highest defense in the team. So she's so versatile in a team, bringing all of the buffs. Decreasing the cooldowns of skills is absolutely massive. I've played around so much with that. This was the first run, guys. So while I've done some silly things in terms of like messing up my poison thingy trial, I think she's absolutely amazing, right? And I cannot wait to basically try different comps with her to see basically how we are able to push to a high number of trials. In fact, I might actually go in for like a trial record or something like that, at least to beat my personal record, because I think right now the record is crazy high, and you do need a lot of high blessings to make that happen. We don't have any crazy damage in here or anything like that, but it's just basically her giving you the ability to get pretty much all of it done, okay? I'm quickly going to check if we still have the Chimera in-game, if I can access the page to check the trials. That's basically what I'm trying to see, but unfortunately, it won't let us go to the trial page from here. I do wish they would kind of let us, because I'm pretty curious to see a couple of things to show them to you, basically. But either way, if we're going to go back at the run, I'm quickly going to show you the result. I'm going to show you what I've got out of it. And then we're going to go over the builds for the other champions, just in case if you are curious. Now, if you do not have a Galatir, I still think that one of the best options is, especially for this team, is going to be an Elva, because you will require that immunity. You will require to have a good revive. So, the thing is, Raiho actually brings the immunity. So you could run somebody else that doesn't do that. Fyna could be crazy powerful, actually, thinking about it, because you have the immunity, you have everything else, and she will bring the increased speed. She will enable the team to rotate much faster. For a second, I forgot that I have Raiho Bone Spear in there, right? My Balar is getting absolutely demolished here with the Viper form, and you're gonna see that we got screwed over with that immunity. I've done the mistake of buffing there, but I did not want to retry this run again, because I think I would have had an issue right here with the part where you need to revive. If I was doing this part with the poison damage and the next trial on the first cycle, when we were getting here, Balar was gonna die, then we were gonna have the successful revive, and it would have allowed me to get 7 more mythical materials, right? But that was just a bit of a mess up, which is fine. It's not really the end of the world. Unfortunately, we did not have the A3 available there. We did not have it available. We did not land the poison sensitivity either. So that's where the RNG kind of like comes in play a bit. I am trying, of course, to push Balar in to get the job done. We've landed that poison sensitivity here. And I'm not actually even sure what happened, if we got resisted or something. I'm actually paying attention there to make sure we are landing all of the debuffs. We have enough space. But you see, I have 150k out of 250k. And I think I was short by like 50k, if I'm not mistaken. So it's fine. I'll do it next time whenever I'm going to go for this trial. I think, if I remember correctly, it might be one of the very first few times when I'm actually bothering with that trial in particular, because it was so hard to do the comp for the team without Fyna to allow me to do what I'm doing now, right? But a lot of things changed on my account with her now. So let me just quickly go over the final result. The damage is okay. It's not that crazy. It doesn't really bother me as long as it's the top chest, right? The main thing is getting the trials. There are only 12 trials, but are the most important trials. They're the trials that give you the mythical materials and that stuff. That's why I haven't really prioritized in doing 25 trials for rare materials. I don't care about rare materials. I used to care about rare materials a long time ago when we started playing Chimera, but now I have a huge overflow of rare materials anyway. So we've got 18 mythical materials. We've got the 4-star basalt, the 3-star basalt. Unfortunately, with this team, I was not able to get the gemstones from the trials because I did not have the right stuff in the team to make that happen. But Look at that. I have 3,000 rare materials. I definitely do not need more of them, right? So what's important is literally getting as many mythicals and legendaries as possible, but mainly mythicals, because even the legendary materials can be very, very disappointing. This is my Star Sage Galatir for the Chimera. Relentless, Impulse. I usually have some refresh accessories on him, but it seems like I forgot to put them on. Some resistance, good speed on him. I am running this relic on him. That's why he tends to get an extra turn all the time when we revive. I'm not going to change it all the time. Plus, it's great to get the extra turn. Works really, really good both PvP and PvE. Masteries, basically for PvP. I even have him with a PvP Blessing with a Temporal Chains. If we go over to Shiro. Toshiro is built on a Merciless, and we have a Killstroke set because this is what enables me to get the stats right. And good speed, good accuracy, crit rate, crit damage, decent attack. Not even crazy attack or anything like that, right? But pretty good stats because we do have a 6-star Crushing Grand. Now, what's good about Toshiro is that he brings decreased speed on the second form, which actually enabled us to complete a very, very important trial too. And it opened another one that was really important. But we have an Erratic Coronet, is only a level 12. We have Crushing Grand on him, and these are his masteries. Let me just quickly make myself invisible for a second while I'm showing you the champions and all that. Then we used a Raiho Bone Spear. So let's go over to Raiho. I have her on a 9-piece Feral as fast as I can get her without breaking any of my other key champions. Good accuracy on her. I have the Demonic Effigy on her. So it's basically whenever Termiter increases by 10, whereas Termiter increases by 10 whenever one of their allies dies. We got a bit of extra healing, land the debuffs if needed. We have a 6-star, 5-star Blessing on her. Sorry, I wish it would be a 6-star. We have Brimstone. And these are her masteries. We have defense and support with Eagle Eye. And then we have Balar. Balar was kind of like okay-ish. I don't have the best build on him either, but we have a 6-piece Merciless. I have a piece of Feral, a Perception set, just to make sure I have enough accuracy, even though he brings in the increased accuracy, which is really, really important. These are the total stats. Of course, more attack on him, more crit damage would be really good. I've tried using him with this relic in particular, but honestly, is not that good, you know. For the relic, I went with the Arachne Elixir. Probably not the best one, though. Probably not the best. Even though it should, I don't really think that it makes such a big difference. But honestly, I'm a bit unsure of what relic to give him for that particular, for this particular case. And we have Nature's Rat, only 1-star, really pointless, but hey, better than nothing. And then we have the offense and support. We have Helm Smasher as tier 6. And I think that would be pretty much it in terms of the team. I don't think we've missed anyone. We already went over a Fyna's build, just in case if any of you guys were curious to see basically what I was running in there. But the main thing is I'm super pumped. I finally freaking got her. And yeah, another Pokemon off the list. Appreciate all of you guys watching. Much love. And I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.